Fast, focused, and fearless. Here's everything you need to know as you jumpstart your day. I'm Pauline Verzosa. President Bongbong Marcos sided with the bicameral committee's decision to provide zero subsidy to PhilHealth. PBBM insisted that PhilHealth has a surplus of reserve funds. He noted that the state insurance agency only spent 260 billion pesos out of its 500 billion pesos reserve funds. The president added that PhilHealth has a systemic issue.
The reason why is that we do not want to subsidize it is because it is the subsidy will hook lang doon sa bank account ng PhilHealth, hindi magagamit. Eh marami tayong paggagamitan noon. So that's a simple explanation there.
Meanwhile, his sister, Senator Amy Marcos, urged him to scrutinize the budget before signing it. She opposed some of the budget cuts, including the removal of the subsidy for PhilHealth.
Nakita naman natin na eto nga at nakikiusap ako na sana pakitutukan mo ang issue ng pondo at ng budget at ipaalala na ang pakikialam ng mga mambabatas sa departamento at mga sangay ng gobyerno ay labag sa batas at labag sa konsensya ng tao.
Al Ibon Foundation Executive Director Sunny Africa criticized the bicameral committee's approval of the 2025 national budget. He cited its limited allocation for agriculture, domestic industries, and public social services while prioritizing infrastructure programs. Here's an excerpt from his interview on The Big Story.
Is performance a good basis to have such huge cuts in the budget?
The budget overall, the budget including the revenue program, it should be the expression of a whole holistic strategy for social and economic development. Our main problem with the budget, even as submitted, it didn't give enough for agriculture. It's not giving anything for domestic industry. It's not actually subsidizing the expansion of public social services, while on the other hand, giving too much stress on infrastructure and debt service. Ang problema actually dumaan pa sa BICAM, yung problema na hindi pinansin na agrikultura, industriya, serbisyo, while prioritizing infrastructure, lalong lumala pa. So sa amin, may malaking problema with the budget process. It's so weird. Parang serial certifies urgency, President Marcos. Every budget he has passed since he came into power has been certified as urgent. Despite the absence of a calamity, despite the absence of an emergency, he sent a political signal, I just want this rush, I don't want much discussion. So para sa amin, malaking problema yung disenyo ng budget, yung proseso. Hindi actually pinapakinggan yung pangailangan ng karamihan. Secondly, it's not actually reflecting a real economic development program. And that's, I think, the catastrophic portion of the budget.
Well, a lot of critics actually, Sunny, are saying na there has been a trend, right? Starting from the start of this administration and even before. When we talk about confidential funds, since yun yung mainit na issue before, no, napapansin natin lumalaki. That's also a trend. The trend now is, I guess, unprogrammed appropriations ballooning and a lot of things happening at the BICAM that we are not seeing, right? Are you guys over at Ibon? Are you planning to file a case against this? Are you seeing the Constitution being violated here?
We are talking actually with some representatives. You could probably guess who they are. There is a need to question first, actually, the certification as urgent. Every budget is urgent. If you look at their rationalization, they say it's to deal with existing challenges, it's to be flexible. It's a lot of motherhoods, but there's no calamity or emergency as usually presumed to be in the case of bills certified as urgent. So I think that is questionable right there. Secondly, yes, exactly. I think people are so used to confidential intelligence funds. People are forgetting even the Office of the President has huge confidential intelligence funds. In the last year of President Noynoy Aquino, it was only about 711 million pesos. By the end of President Duterte's term, it was 4.5 billion. And that same practice, bloated confidential intelligence funds for the president, was maintained by the current president. So yes, we do think it is something that should be given more oversight. But of course, the question is, no one questions the president's budget, supposedly with this absurd parliamentary tradition.
More medicines for cancer, diabetes, and mental health conditions are exempted from the 12% value-added tax or VAT. The Bureau of Internal Revenue added 16 more medicines under the list of VAT-exempt items. Based on CREATE Act, prescription drugs and medicines for cancer, diabetes, and mental health illnesses, among others, are eligible for VAT exemption. The medicines that are now VAT exempted are flashed on your screens. We'll be back with more stories after the break. Keep it here on One News. You're still watching One News Now. I'm Pauline Verzosa. Let's now take a quick look at today's other headlines. In the Philippine Star, President Marcos vowed to be more open and accessible to the media as he called on journalists to evolve to counter the proliferation of fake news. Marcos emphasized that credibility is necessary to combat disinformation, and this can be achieved through openness and honesty. And in business world, cash remittances from overseas Filipino workers rose by 2.7% in October, the slowest growth in 4 months. Data from the central bank showed that cash remittances increased to $3.08 billion from $3 billion in the same month a year ago. Over 45,000 Palestinians have now been killed in the ongoing conflict between Israel and Hamas militants in Gaza. Palestinian health officials said the real toll is higher because thousands of bodies are buried under rubble. They also said more than half of the fatalities are women and children. Qatar, Egypt, and the United States have renewed efforts to broker a ceasefire deal between Israel and Hamas 14 months since the war started. Meantime, Central America is now bracing for a potential influx of vulnerable migrants. Honduras, Guatemala, and El Salvador have the largest number of undocumented people in the U.S. after Mexico. These countries could be among the first to be impacted by mass deportation. This was promised by U.S. President-elect Donald Trump, who is set to take office in January. Inimbento ng ilang doktor at engineer sa Bacolod ang isang makina na mas nagpapadali raw ng paghilom ng sugat sa katawan. Ang kanilang gamit dito, isang aquarium pump. Para bigyan ng mukha ang balita, Mobile Journal, Francis Orsio.
Sa umuusad na makabagong teknolohiya sa larangan ng medisina, hindi magpapahuli ang mga Filipino experts. Meron na kasing naimbentong medical device na kayang mapabilis ang pagpapagaling ng sugat. Kung nagkasugat ka, itong medical device vacuum-assisted closure ang ginagamit para sa wound therapy o treatment. Nakatutulong yan para mapabilis na maisara ang sugat. Yun nga lang, pagkamahal-mahal ng device na ito. Kaya ang grupo ng mga doktor at engineers sa Bacolod humanap ng alternatibong solusyon at ang gamit lang, isang aquarium pump.
Because aquarium pump is a reliable machine. It operates 24 hours, 7 days a week. So it might also be reliable for patients who needs negative pressure wound therapies.
Naglalaro ng 300,000 pesos hanggang 1.4 million pesos ang isang vacuum pressure device. Hindi yan afford ng maraming ospital sa bansa, lalo na sa probinsya. Kaya ito ang naging inspirasyon nila Engineer Doy para gawin ang aquarium pump. Nakitaan niya ng potensyal ng Department of Science and Technology. Mula sa pananaliksik noong 2019, pinondohan niya ng DOST nitong 2023 at ngayon ay may advanced version na tinatawag na Aquavac Advance. At ang presyo ng medical device per unit napababa na ng 50,000 pesos. Sa tulong naman ng Aquavac unit, naisalba ang braso ng isang pasyente na muntik ng putulan ng braso dahil sa malubhang aksidente.
This device keeps your wound clean, free from pus, from edema, mga nana. It's not painful as well because there's a pressure regulation. Pinapadali niya yung wound healing. Instead of making it 1 month or 2 months, you cut the time by 50%. You don't introduce inflammation and complications on the wound.
Sa ngayon, meron lang naman higit 70 Aquavac units ang nalikha at naibenta na ng team nila Engineer Doy sa tulong ng DOST. Napapakinabangan na yan ng iba't ibang orthopedic doctors at mga ospital sa bansa. Goal ng mga bumuo ng Aquavac ngayon na hindi lang ito magamit mismo ng mga doktor, kundi pati na ng mga pasyente sa kanilang sugat at iba pang medical na pangangailangan. Mobile journalist Francis Orsio po, hatid ang mukha ng balita.
And those are the top stories of the hour. Join us later at 9 a.m. as we continue to monitor the day's biggest stories. I'm Pauline Verzosa. We are One News.